Welcome to second lab of lesson 1 in module 1, set up radius server in native IPv6 network. The goal of this lab is to configure router to use radius server to authenticate users at the login time in native IPv6 network.
We will use the same topology that was used in lab number 1. The IPv6 address of this interface GI00 is 2001 db811aa 12:1, and the IP address for this server should be in the same subnet. To do that, you need to right-click on the server and select Edit Config, and write the commands that assign a static IPv6 address, which is 2001 db811aa 12:2. So both devices will be on the same subnet. Let us start the connectivity between them. From the router, I will ping the server 2001 db811aa 12:2. I have a connectivity from the router to the server. Then from the server to the router, 201 db811aa 12:1. I also have a connectivity from the server to the router. Now this server is pre-configured with Radius protocol and TACAX Plus protocol. It is downloaded from the GNS website, and you need only to set the IPv6 address and start using it. We have two users for the Radius server, which are Alice and Bob. They are pre-configured, and the password for them is GNS3. Now the next step is to configure the R1 to retrieve user's password from the Radius server when users attempt to connect to the router. Conf terminal. We need to enable the AAA authentication. New model. Now I'm going to create a local user, which is a backup user. In case of the Radius server is down, I can use it for maintenance purposes. For example, username is Shubair and the password is IPv6. Enable password also is IPv6. Now I will create the server. So the Radius server actually. The Radius server is named as IPv6 Radius, and its IPv6 address is the address of the server, which is 2001 db811aa 12:2. And I have to specify also the authentication port, auth port, which is 1812, and the accounting port, ACCT port, is 1813. For the communication between the radius server and the router, I will use the same default key, which is GNS3. Then exit the config. Now I need to create a new group and put a name for it. AAA group server radius, and the name of the group is IPv6 group. The next step is to set the server name. I have to use the same name of the server that I already configured, which is IPv6 radius. Okay, very good. Exit. Next is to enable the AAA authentication for the login. So AAA authentication for the login. The default is group named as IPv6 group, and the backup is local. I'm going also to enable AAA authentication for enable. So AAA authentication for the enable. Default is enable. Very good. End the configuration and show the run to see what we have done. We have enabled the password, which is IPv6, and create or enable the AAA authentication. Also, this is the group which is named as IPv6 address, and the server name is IPv6 radius. Okay, the AAA authentication is enabled for the login and for the enable. This is the local account for Shuber IPv6, and the server configuration is here. Radius server, this is the name of the server, and this is the IP and the ports, and the key is GNS3. Now the next step is to enable the VTY line. Config terminal line VTY 04 transport input all protocol, and exit. Okay, now let us check the configuration. I will start debugging the AAA authentication. And also debug the radius. Okay, very good. Now let us telnet the server itself, and I will try to use the accounts created, which are, as you remember, Bob and Alice. So telnet, the same IPv6 address of the interface, which is 2001 db8 11AA 12::1. Okay, very good. Now it asks me for the username. I'm going to use the username on the server on the AAA-1 server, which is Bob, for example. The password is GNS3. Okay, I got the connection. It gave me hello Bob. Very good. Let us exit. I'll try the other account, which is Alice. The password is GNS3. Okay, I got the access to the router and it gave me a message, hello Alice. Very good. Now let us check the local account. You remember the local account, which is a backup account. As we said, it is a backup account. We can use it in case of the server is down. So telnet, I'm going to use the local account, which is Super, and the password is IPv6. Okay, now it should refuse the yes, authentication failed. Because it is local user, the authentication failed. Okay, now let us do something. I'll try to delete the connection between the router and the server and check what will happen. So delete the connection and I'll try to telnet, for example, Bob, and the password is GNS3. It will take some time and it will refuse the attempt to connect to the router because the radius server is down. There is no connection between the radius server and the routers, so the authentication failed. But if I use Super, which is local user, password is IPv6, it is there. The connection has been done using the local user. Why we use the local user? Because the connection between the router and the server now is deleted. Let me reconnect the server with the router and try to check. So exit. Okay, telnet, let me use Bob and the password is GNS3. Okay, very good. That's all for this lab. Thank you for listening. See you in lesson number 2.